The part of Rooted that I got the most from was definitely the new relationships.
Developing new friends.
Getting to know the people that were in my group. They became my church family.
Before I was afraid to connect with people, and now I couldn't imagine not having these people in my life.
My relationship with God was like a little more on like the stagnant side. Being a part of Rooted reignited that flame for me.
I had been praying, Lord, how am I going to speak to people about God? And Rooted in the book actually gave me a way to communicate.
I didn't think that I knew how to pray, and I didn't think that I knew how to journal.
I didn't grow up Christian, but there was just always that one thing missing for me. And I think it was just like trusting God and like really relying on Him.
Rooted really helped teach me more about my spirituality.
I feel that I have grown in my walk with God.
The material wasn't churchy. It was just everyday talking.
If I had to write a book, I would write it like that.
Yeah.
It broke me in a good way. Like it just kind of opened up wounds that needed to like just come out. And it's funny because it's like with people we didn't even know.
I think that our group was perfectly handpicked by God.
Being able to hear other people's stories,
their testimony, where they came from and where they are now and today, it just really hit my heart.
I thought I was going through a lot myself, and then you realize there's a lot of other stories that are being told around the table that are just as big in terms of issues and situations.
It's vulnerable to share who you are, but that's what it's all about.
The last day there, we did words of affirmation for each other, and to think that 10 weeks ago we were strangers. And now, hearing the things we have to say about each other is truly life-changing.
It's amazing what the Holy Spirit did.
It's going to be a little bit awkward at first if you're not used to being in a group, but you'd get over that.
Stepping out of that comfort zone and just doing it makes all the difference in the world.
It is a commitment, but it's a very fun commitment, and you will learn a lot from the people and friends you make.
It was a life-changing experience.
Don't be afraid to take a leap.
Just dive in.
show up, be yourself, and be open to learning from each other and from God.
Do it. You will not regret it. It is something that I will cherish.
Man, stop playing. Try Rooted and don't get booted. You feel me?
I have to agree with that.
Dang.
All right, well, last week was Valentine's Day, right? I know, right? And I decided today that I am going to give some pointers to guys. Yeah, that's right. So guys, I did something for Melanie that she said was the sexiest thing I have ever done for her, ever. Are you guys ready? I know we're online, but we're all adults here. I cleaned the bathroom. Yeah, that's right. Everything. And when she came home, she said, "This is the sexiest thing you have ever done. I am so attracted to you right now." So guys, if you want to look good at home, clean the bathroom. It'll work. It's going to be a good thing. Guys, I want to just thank you so much for being here. I know it's President's Day weekend. I know a lot of people have plans and they're out and they're traveling. I'm sure we have folks watching online. I've had a lot of other folks let me know they'd be traveling. So thanks for coming out here on President's Day weekend. Appreciate it. Guys, one of the things, a couple of things. One, I have a huge announcement to make regarding our facility. I'm going to find out all of that information. It's going to be all like kind of locked up by tomorrow. And then I'm going to be able to present to you a realistic timeline of what we're looking at in terms of our move. I know that that's kind of been nebulous but now I'm going to finally have some information. So next week, if you're watching online as well, next week, be here so I can give you that breakdown of what that's going to look like. It's very, 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 very exciting times right now. As I mentioned, if you're not getting my weekly emails, please put on your card, sign me up. This is just a great way to stay connected during the week. But we're in a really cool time right now. It's really cool. The past few weeks, we've had people showing up to paint parties. A few months ago, we had people pulling carpet. We're seeing now the light at the end of the tunnel when it comes to our facility. We have got women's ministry has been doing some amazing stuff lately. And whenever there's a women's ministry event, women got to go to those things. They're so cool. We have a men's ministry starting up next week. Rooted happening. All of these things are happening. This past week, we actually had somebody ask not to be identified, so I won't do that. But we had a guy at our church every day working on the church. Every day. It's just amazing where we're headed. One of the cool things that I noticed last few weeks was when we had the live scan events, we had a line of people waiting to get live scanned, which is really cool. And then last week, I posed the 90-day challenge. And when I got the names back of the 90-day challenge, it was really cool. I was able to look at all of them and pray over all of them. And what was really cool was I had people contacting me saying, I'm trying to sign up, and I can't figure out how to do this online, but I want to sign up for that. It just shows where we're headed, the excitement that's going on in our church right now. Now, some questions that I got about this when the 90-day challenge started was they said, Pastor James, you told us about our budget. Where are we at? Where does that stand right now? I want to first celebrate something. So far this year, you have given $128,000. This is as of December, I believe, or this might be as of January. I'm not sure. But you have given $128,202.05. That's what you have given already. And guys, the reason I say in 5 cents is because literally attached to that number is you going without certain things. Is you saying, I'm going to continue to trust God with my finances. I'm going to continue to give. And that's why that number is so significant. When you look at the bottom number, you go, well, then why it looks like we're short, like $94,000. Why are we so short? I asked for that number, just so you know. That number is counting all of the San Clemente expenses. And I wanted you to see that number because to date, other campuses are paying that for us. Other campuses are saying, we believe in what South County is doing, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to support that. So other campuses are taking care of that. And I wanted to see that number, and I wanted you to see that number because there's a reality to this move. Now, this move is we're confident that when we move, we're going to see our church grow. We're going to see more people coming in, and that's going to be a really cool thing. But that's where we're at, and I want you guys to see it. Again, guys, when you're talking about any kind of finances in church, a lot of people will think that's kind of taboo, but it isn't for me. And the reason why is because I know my character and I know my heart, and we aren't abusing your giving. So I could talk about it very confidently because I have a clear conscience on this. And also I want you guys as stakeholders to understand what we're looking at. Now, I know when people see that number, they think, well, Pastor, I love our church. I would love to contribute to what God is doing. I would love to give to this ministry. I would love to trust God with my finances. But you don't understand, Pastor, it's so hard. What if I get hit with a hospital bill? Or what if I get hit with something else that comes in and then it knocks me off? I'm sorry. I love our church. I just can't. If that's you, we love you. And we're glad you're here. This is not a guilt thing for you to give money. There's not that at all. You're welcome here. You're loved here. We are thankful that you're here. But please do not think if you hold on to your money extra tight that is somehow the safe bet. It is not. It is not. The safest thing you could do with money, time, relationships, anything is give it to God and trust God. It's the safest thing you could do. I'm going to give you a number, a real number. $34 trillion. That is our national debt right now. Now, for a lot of people, they could say, well, that might be a 40 gajillion, bajillion affinity dollars. Why does that affect me? Here's why that's going to affect you. Somebody has to pay that debt back. We owe billions of dollars in just the interest on that a day. Somebody's going to have to pay that back. Eventually, guys, it's going to hit us in a very real way. So if you think I'm going to hold on extra tight and I'm just going to play it safe, they're not going to ask for people that have no money to pay that. They're going to ask for people that are paying taxes to pay that. They're going to ask for people that are currently contributing to pay that. And that's going, guys, I don't even have to tell you about COVID. There are people that said, I'm going to hold on to it tight, and I can't afford to trust you with this, God. I'm going to hold on to it tight. COVID happens, their business is wiped away. It wasn't even 20 years ago that I know people that have worked their entire life to watch their retirement go away. So guys, please do not think that holding on to it extra tight is the safe thing to do. It just isn't. The safest thing you could do with anything is to trust God with it. And that's what this is about. If you're going like, I still can't do it, that's okay. We love you. We're glad you're here. We're glad you're here. You're part of our family. But I just wanted to make sure that I present you with the reality of what this looks like. Guys, if you want something safe, make sure that you are trusting God with whatever that is. Right now, maybe you're like, I can't trust God with my relationships right now. It's the safest thing you could do to trust God with that. But guys, I know it. We live in a very different culture down here in South Orange County. And you know who gets swept up into this culture of South Orange County? Pastor James gets swept up in the culture of South Orange County, okay? I do too. You want an example? I'm going to show you some adorable pictures. I want you to see this. Check this out. That is our daughter's 5th birthday party. Can we have some more of those? Okay. They took pictures with aren't those adorable little pictures of those girls? So cute. Now, here's the deal. And the reason I show you this isn't just to show you how adorable they are. The reason I show you this is because I don't know when the 5th birthday became a thing, but it became a thing. I always thought 16 was the birthday. But in our neighborhood, what are you going to do for the girls for their 5th birthday? I don't know, have a birthday? No, you got to do something big. That's the 5th, that's the big one. It is, yeah. Well, I thought 16 or 21 was. No, it's 5. You got to do something really big for their, I guess we got to do something big for their 5th birthday. I was going to just have a cake and a couple presents, but no. We went out and we got swept up in our culture was telling us, and we had a giant bounce house, and we paid for princesses, and we paid for gifts and all the other things that go along with this. And it was expensive, about $1,000. $1,000 we didn't really have because we had to throw the big 5-year-old birthday party. It's funny, the following year, the girls are like, we're 6. What are we getting? And are we going to have princesses? I'm like, your mom looks like Sleeping Beauty. Take as many pictures with her as you want. What about the big bounce house? Go jump on your bed for an hour. It's cool. I don't mind. But we're gonna trace it back a little bit because we don't have that money to keep doing this all the time. But kids, when you go big like that, think, I should always start to get something like this. This is kind of the norm now. This is something that I really kind of deserve and need. And that's where it gets into trouble, guys. That's where we got to be really, really careful. What seems to matter for certain standards at one time kind of changes after a while. Now, back then it was birthday parties. Now it's e-bikes, right? I don't know where you live. I live in Ladera Ranch. And in Ladera Ranch, e-bikes are everywhere. They're like little electric biker gangs everywhere. And they're kind of darting around everywhere. And so Pastor James, said, I think we need to set some money aside for the girls for e-bikes because they're going to have to ride to school eventually. And all the other kids have e-bikes. And I told Melanie, she goes, no. The girls are we going to get e-bikes? And Melanie's like, you're going to get a bicycle that when you move your legs, you actually move forward. That's the kind of bicycle you're going to get, right? Melanie's like, preach. I'm not going to get you e-bikes just because everybody else has one. Again, nothing against if your kid has one, please don't write to me. I'm not. But like, for us, it's like we can't keep doing this. We can't keep going, what is culture doing? Because we got to hurry up and keep up with that. And if we don't, we're going to be in a lot of trouble. We got to, constantly move toward that. Children are constantly navigating what Professor Alison Pugh calls an economy of dignity. And they're trying to navigate through that. Now, what is an economy of dignity? It's kids' feelings of self-worth often rise and fall based on constantly shifting standards around the possessions and experiences that matter in their own little worlds. Now, the pressure for this is very real. What we do, parents, is we say, I want my kid to have what I didn't have, so we end up giving them a lot of stuff they didn't really ask for. or they clearly don't need. Because in my mind, if I give them everything that I always wanted as a kid, I'm actually doing a better job at raising my kid. And we find ourselves spending more and more and more trying to give them the childhood that they never wanted. There's a lie here, though. And the lie is that we believe that if our kids have more than we did, they'll have it better than we did, but more isn't necessarily better, okay? And that's not just for our kids, that's true for us too, because they're gonna model what they see. Let's take technology, for example. Technology is great. We're watching online. In fact, there's people from other countries that watch this. This is so crazy, let me know. But we have members that are traveling and they watch online. Technology could be great. It could be awesome, right? But if you, like anything else, if you start abusing it, it's going to take away from very things we need, like relationships. I have literally seen two kids texting each other and laughing. And they're sitting right next to each other. You want to watch Pastor James get frustrated and angry? Talk to me while you're texting. So you're crazy, and I'm standing right there. It's like, no. Let me see your phone. Okay, now look at me in the face and talk to me. That drives me absolutely crazy. So is technology the bad guy? No, it's not the bad guy. But when we start to replace what we really actually being together, like actually here, we've got to make sure that we're doing that and we're modeling that. Everything online, Zoom meetings, gatherings, everything. Let's come to church for whatever reason. You got to online, and I know that there's online, and I know that there's some people that watch online that are very much a part of our church family. But we got to make sure that the main thing is the main thing, and that is you got to make sure that you're not replacing those relationships, guys. Because what happens is that we just kind of keep getting used to all of these things. William Damon is a Stanford expert on adolescence. He wrote, many children nowadays have privileges that were once reserved for royalty. Now everyone expects to be treated like a king, but what it produces is materialistic people, and we are seeing that in our culture today, right now. Okay, people are more interested in having stuff than relationships. Now, we talked about this last week, but I'm going to revisit it one more time really quick. 1 Timothy 6:10 says, "For the love of money is the root of all kinds of evil." Again, not money itself, but the love of money is the root of all kinds of evil. Some people eager for money have wandered from their faith and pierced themselves with many griefs. Now, we don't want to be like that. We don't want to read this verse and go, "Well, that's me." Well, then what do I do about it? How did we end up here? Again, God doesn't want us just to be like these boring monks that do nothing all day. He has an exciting life for us. And he's not trying to deprive us of anything. Look at what Paul reminds us of this fact. 1 Timothy 6:17. "Command those who are rich in the present world not to be arrogant, nor put their hope in wealth, which is so uncertain." I'm going to say that again. Don't put your faith in wealth. It is so uncertain. But to put their hope in God, who richly provides us with everything for our enjoyment. For everything for our enjoyment. He's saying, trust me. I want you to enjoy the only life I'm going to give you. You get one crack at this, and I want you to enjoy it, okay? God wants us to enjoy what we have. He just doesn't want us to gather our self-worth on it and come to rely on it. Meaning, I want you to have all the things out there that are going to make your life fulfilled and exciting and fun. I just don't want that to define you. Have nice clothes. The clothes shouldn't define you. Have a nice home. That home shouldn't define you. Have nice cars. That car shouldn't define you. Have nice things. Go ahead. You worked hard. Go for it. But that shouldn't define you. That's what you got to make sure that we're understanding. And we see this at a very early age, especially guys. And this is not against anybody, but in our community, in our culture, in our county, we are seeing a lot of this. And it starts at a very early age. And then when you see that, it becomes the dominant thing in our culture. So if it starts at an early age, researchers tell us that, and see if we could identify with any of these, that spoiled children tend to have 4 things in common. Okay, let's see if we could, teachers, maybe you could probably speak to this. They have parents who make their decisions, solve their problems, and absorb their consequences. Okay, then number 2, they have very few rules that govern their behavior or schedules. And number 3, they have few chores or responsibilities around the house. And number 4, they have a lot of material possessions and continue to get more. Again, if you don't like what you are seeing in our culture today, if you're watching the news and you're saying this next generation is crazy, somebody had to have parented them though. They didn't come from Mars, okay? They are here because we raised this generation, and this is why we got to make sure that we're paying attention to this stuff, because that's the future generation, okay? Now, some people can say, well, that's not really my problem, Pastor, because I don't have any kids. Or, my kids are grown. You should have talked to me years ago. They're already grown. Well, if that's the case, then actually you got to look in the mirror on this one, okay? Okay, if that's the case, you want to look in the mirror, because this affects all of us. We become materialistic when we'd rather buy something better than build deeper connections and character. And that's something you got to remember, guys. And by the way, this is not just a right now problem, and it's not just an American problem. This has been going on even in the early days of the church. 1 Thessalonians 4:1 says this: For other matters, brothers and sisters, we instruct to live now. We ask you and urge you in the Lord Jesus to do this more and more. And then he goes on to give some examples. He says, 1 Thessalonians 4:11, and to make your ambition to lead a quiet life, you should mind your own business and work with your hands, just as we told you, so that your daily life may win the respect of outsiders, and so that you will not be dependent on anybody. Now, what's so interesting about this is he's saying live a life that is different than what culture is saying to you right now. What do you mean by that? Lead a quiet life. Are we supposed to be a monk on the top of a mountain? No. Leading a quiet life means stop talking and start doing. There's so many churches that are great talkers, and they talk all the time, and they do nothing with whatever they're saying. Do it. Don't just talk about it. People around you will respect that. And also, mind your own business. Guys, as a pastor, I have seen this over and over. Did you see what that person said? I saw that person at a bar, and I saw them drinking. And, are you going to have a talk with them? Have you addressed it with them? No. Then mind your own business. It's none of your business. Unless you're going to go and sit and talk with them, it's none of your business what they're doing. Don't talk to me about it. Go to them, okay? If you don't like it, have a conversation. If you're not going to have a conversation with them, then butt out. It's really simple. But we see this a lot in church. A lot of churches have a lot of this infighting and gossiping and stuff like that. So when I've had people come to me, I said, have you talked to them? No. Then nothing I can do. Well, you're the pastor. You should do something about it. No. You're a Christian. That's a Christian. And the Bible says you're supposed to go meet with each other. So go ahead, okay? You do that, and people aren't going to care about your wardrobe or your car or your clothes or whatever, or your house or whatever like that, because they're going to see somebody that minds their own business, and when they speak, their yes is yes and their no is no. And they'll respect that far more than whatever it is you can buy. Trust me. That's what this verse is saying. So how do we do this practically? There's a blueprint on this. Matthew 5:37 says this: all you need to say is simply yes or no. Anything beyond this comes from the evil one. In other words, live according to your values and stop trying to make everybody happy. You cannot make everybody happy. You can't. You've got to say, God, what are your values? I'm going to follow it the best I can. There's going to be some people that don't like me. There's going to be some people that are saying that I'm too with this or that. Okay. But I can't live for the approval of everybody. I've got to make sure that I'm following your values, God. We can't live just because everybody else is saying this is what we should do, where it comes comparison. So basically, the short of it is, show them how to live by contentment, not by comparison. Galatians 6:4 says, each one should test their own actions. Then they can take pride in themselves alone without comparing themselves to someone else. And you do that by genuinely being grateful for what you have. Don't worry about what somebody else has. Don't worry about what you're saying on social media, that they took a trip to wherever, and that's so cool, and we only got to go to, Las Vegas or something like that, or down the street or whatever. They went to Paris. We went to Lake Paris. So that's not fair. But whatever. You did something. Don't worry about what they're doing, Now, another thing that we could do to set up this next generation very, very well is that we could show them how to provide for themselves and contribute to their community. 2 Thessalonians 3:10 says, for even when we were with you, we gave you this rule: the one who is unwilling to work shall not eat. We hear that some among you are idle and disruptive. They are not busy, they are busybodies. Such people we command and urge in the Lord Jesus Christ to settle down and earn the food that they eat. Church, simply put, We were made to contribute. Nobody should be sitting on the sidelines. I'm going to say that again. Nobody should be sitting on the sidelines. Nobody. This goes in your relationships. This goes in your family. That's why we give kids chores. Nobody should be sitting on the sidelines, guys. We are all made to contribute. If you show me a society that this group is working and this group is doing nothing and this group is working extra hard for the group that's doing nothing, I will show you a society in decline because we're not meant to live that way. God did not create us to sit back and just take. We are meant to give. We are meant to contribute. It goes for everything. It goes for your society, your culture. It goes for the church. It goes for anything that we are a part of. We are meant to be a part of it. Guys, before we came here, there was people that were setting things up and moving things around and putting things up. And I mean, everybody is contributing to what we're doing here, okay? It's all of us together. And I've seen this work brilliantly in the church where everybody comes together and we're working together on this, okay? And the last thing we need to do is, for our next generation, is to show them how to prioritize building relationships or getting things. Now, here's a major issue, guys. If we don't do this, then we're gonna have future generations that simply will be in a relationship with you to get something from you. In other words, the only reason I wanna be your friend is because you can get me that. The only reason I'm gonna help you out is because you can get me this. That's it. So we have to make sure that they're prioritizing relationships over just getting things. Hebrews 13:5. Keep your lives free from the love of money. Again, it keeps saying that. Bible never says money's the bad guy. You can do great things with it. But just keep your lives free from the love of money and be content with what you have because God has said, never will I leave you and never will I forsake you. Now, friends, what kids need or what the next generation needs right now is your time and your attention. They don't need more lectures. They just need your time. They need your attention right now. I've had a lot of people say, Pastor, I don't understand. I paid for my kid to have the best schooling, and I got him a car when they turned 16, and they went to the best college, and they did all that stuff, and now they're away from the faith. Man, I don't understand. There's two trains of thoughts here, guys. One is this. If you raise them with God's values, they know where home base is. They do. I know it's hard, but they know where home base is. And I know this, and I'm saying this from personal experience. My parents gave me everything I wanted. I got the brand new car when I was 16. I went to private schools my whole life. I never did without. I always had a lot. I wandered away from my faith, way far away from my faith, but I knew where the lighthouse was because of how I was raised, okay? So don't panic if you're finding this next generation kind of going this way. If you're giving them God's values, they're gonna go back. But there's another train of this. If you're not living those values, why in the world would they care about it? They wouldn't. You're not doing it. You need to go to church. Why? You don't really go to church. You need to serve. Why? You don't really serve. You need to trust God. Why? You're always, freaking out over everything. You're not really trusting God. You need to be generous. You need to tithe. Why? You don't do that stuff. Why do I need to do all that? You don't do it. They're going to model whatever it is that they are seeing from you. And if they wandered away and you gave them those values, they know where the lighthouse is, guys. Right now, let's be very honest. We are seeing a generation that wants so badly to fight something. They want a cause so bad. And right now, I was watching the news not long ago, and they showed this kid, a couple of kids, and they were there, and they had, they had nice clothes, and they, looked like they weren't missing meals, and I'm sure, and they were complaining, and they said, "What are you complaining? Why are you so angry?" "I am angry with this society." Well, what about this capitalistic, awful thing? We are going to just leave America. And so my mind always goes, then go away. But the thing of it is, though, is that when because my first reaction was that if you hate it so much, you're not missing any meals. You're not, if you hate it so much, why you're here? Then my second train of thought was, that is so sad. That kid wants something to believe in so bad, they're willing to fight for. They don't even know what cause to fight for anymore. They're just kind of jumping from cause to cause because they want that. It's in them. What if we can direct them to the church? Instead of saying they're the enemy, these young punks are the enemy, what if we could direct that passion into the church? And friends, that's where we all have a say in that. We could do that. They have the right idea in terms of, I want to fight for something, but they're executing it in all the wrong ways, guys. That's why it's no secret that half of our building, our new building, half of it is just for kids. Because I want to make sure that we are giving our kids, this next generation in this community, a safe place to have fun, to laugh, but to also have a voice, to also be able to explain when they're not happy about something, to go ahead and complain, talk to me. If you don't like something, let's hear it. Let's have a dialogue about it. Not just shut up and go to Sunday school. What is wrong? What's happening? Talk to me. Let me hear you. Because guys, this generation is going, nobody listened to me. Now I'm going to do something where I can get everybody to listen to me. That's why they're doing it. Attention, acceptance, love, all in the wrong directions. So guys, one of the cool things that we have is that we can actually speak into that in this next generation. They want authenticity so bad. And we can give that to them in our new building. But it's going to take all of us, nobody sitting on the sidelines. So again, you want to do this, guys, we need to spend time with people who reinforce your values and set limits on whatever causes you to compromise. You're going to be just like the people that you're around. So make sure you're very careful on who you put around you. Now this week, guys, I had said in my weekly email that this has been the most emotional series that I've ever taught before, and it's true. It really has been. Because when I'm writing this, I'm actually mentally envisioning all the times where God showed up, and there were times where I didn't know what was happening with my job situation. And I would see God show up for that. Or at times I didn't know what was happening with my relationships, or losing family members, or difficulties. And then I'm seeing all of the ways God is coming in to bless me. That's why, guys, this series is not about trying to get more money from you. It's not. I am confident we are going to get every single dime that we need to get. I'm totally confident in that. I am confident that this church, God will bless this. Totally confident. So this is not when people are signing up for the 90-day challenge. It's not somebody tricked to try to get more money from you. It's a way that we can encourage you. We're not creditors. We're not going to call you and say, "Hey, you signed up for the 90-day challenge. Where's the money?" We're not going to do that. That's for me to trust. Trust. It's going to be awesome. And so when I want you to have that, I want you to have those moments where you could sit down and close your eyes and think of all the times that God has provided for you. And when we're talking about the next generation, I want to show you, I talk about my mom a lot. I want to show you a picture of her. That's Rosina. There she is. It's my mom. And I'm not going to look at Vic. The other day, we were at dinner for my birthday, and Piper kept talking over and over and over about these stories about my mom, and I couldn't understand why. What I realized was she found a box from my mom's funeral that people wrote comments on, and she found them, and she read through all of them. And I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. Can you read them to me? Can you show me them? There was a lot of them that talked about her generosity. This was just one of them. This was actually the card. And it said, always remember going to the... always remember going to the bakery and Rosina making sure that I was fed and got something to eat. She was such a warm and loving, Christ-driven woman, always telling me that I needed God in my heart, and I did. I would sit sometimes and watch her as she had a restaurant that was close to a school that was not in the greatest of areas. And the school would give away some fruit. And she knew that the kids that didn't have money, because they would walk in with a banana or an apple, and she would say, "What are you going to have, sweetheart?" And the kid would look at a banana and say, "I'm not hungry." And she would say, oh, I have your specialty for you. And she would give them a full meal. And they would say, I don't have any money. And she'd always say, you could pay me back when you're a millionaire. She gave away more money to ministries, more money to people, more things. She gave away so much stuff. Could my brother and sister and I have had more of an inheritance money-wise if she didn't? Totally. Totally. But she gave us something far more valuable. She gave us the values that God asked her to give us. Guys, a couple weeks ago, I shared with you a very emotional story about Piper, who has dyslexia, who a kid said, you can't play with us. Why can't I play with you? Because you can't read and you're stupid. Piper standing up saying, my value doesn't come from you. My value comes from Jesus. The reason I'm leaving my mom's picture up there is because that is what a legacy looks like. That little child does not stand up and say, my value doesn't come from you. It comes from Jesus. That doesn't happen if that doesn't happen. That's the responsibility that you and I have. That's why I don't have any qualms talking about finances and that's why I don't have any qualms about talking about 90 challenges. That's why I don't have any qualms about talking about this, because I've seen it firsthand. Generation after generation after generation. You want to leave your kids something? Don't just leave them money. Leave them with the tools to affect the next generation. That's what we need to leave them with. And that is still going on. I promise you. I know it. That when Piper stood up and said it, I know that I could hear my mom saying, go get it. You got this. That's why this matters, you guys. What we are doing now is going to affect future generations. What are you leaving them? Answer that. Yourself and generation. Yourself and generation. Yourself and generation. With your time, your gifts, your money, your relationships, your everything. Trust him with it. It's the safest thing you can do. Let's pray. Father, I just thank you so much for all of the amazing things that this church, and I thank you for the generosity, a part of this church that are saying we want to affect this community. We want to trust you, Jesus. Father God, we have a heavy responsibility to this next generation, and it's going to require all of us. But I am confident in the love of this church that we will meet that challenge head on, God. I know that you have this home in San Clemente for us for a reason, and it's to affect not just ourselves and not just the community today, but for the next generation, God. I know that there's going to be a time when we get to heaven, and you're going to lead us to this certain area, and you're going to say, I want you to meet all of these people, because they're here because of what you started. And we thank you that we get the opportunity to serve in that way. Thank you, Jesus. Amen.
South Hills Church, I just want to take a moment and say thank you for watching our service online. Whether you're watching it for the first time or you're watching it again because you enjoyed the service so much from the weekend, I'd like to take a moment and dive into our giving. Every week we give people the opportunity to give back and give to the local church so that God can continue to bless your lives and bless your finances. Here at South Hills, we believe that everything comes from God. We believe that He's the one that chose us and brought us into this world, gave us our gifts and talents and abilities. And I just want you to know that when we give, we are giving back what God has already given to us. If you've ever seen any of our envelopes at a South Hills campus, you'll see on there that it says, every week at South Hills, your generosity is giving people the opportunity to live a better story. And there's a scripture on there in Matthew chapter 6, verse 21 that says, where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. So I want to encourage you today to click down below and set up your giving, whether it's for the first time or whether you're doing reoccurring giving. We have 4 ways to give here at South Hills. 1, you can do it in person at any of our campuses through an envelope. Or 2, you can actually text any amount that you would like to 84321. And the 3rd way is to download our Church Center app. I encourage you to do this one because the Church Center app gives you opportunity to stay connected with our church and your campuses. It's a great tool and resource for you to know what's going on. And the 4th way to give is to give online. You can go to southhills.org/give and you can set up your giving there. Whether you're a guest of our church or whether you are a member of our church, or whether you simply just like to watch our services, I encourage you to trust God with your finances so that He can bless and anoint your finances, and you can be trusting God in this journey of living life to the fullest. I love you, and thank you for watching our online service today.